It is my honor to introduce Mr. Param Bhamra, founding partner at Mediate Guru. He is a seasoned professional with a wealth of experience and specialization in the realm of international arbitration. Devoting his career in the advancement of alternative dispute resolution, he actively speaks on and contributes to the elevation of legal skills and knowledge among emerging law students. Mr. Bhamra has been recognized for his contribution to the society, receiving awards from the NGO for his efforts in educating the unprivileged children. He actively mentors future professionals and serves as the judge in previous various competitions like Middle East Based Moot Court, AIAC Moot Court, INADR, providing valuable guidance to the participants. Proudly affiliated with the esteemed professional bodies, Mr. Bhamra holds membership in the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, the Singapore International Arbitration Center, and the Mumbai International Center for International Arbitration.
Now we are honored to have Mr. Param Bhamra with us. He's joined us today, although we had the opportunity to hear him earlier as well. But I'm sure always we are happy to listen to you, sir. We eagerly anticipate the learning from his vast experience. Could you all please join me in welcoming him again?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm grateful to this institute for having me again and again. Now, I'm sure you would rather hear from Mr. Joe, but let me start off with a joke. Would you guys appreciate that? And I do hope it's funny, or else I'll look like a stupid person. So, a mediator, an arbitrator, and a lawyer walk into a bar. Bartender says, who will pay the bill? Mediator says, let's find a common ground on that. Arbitrator says, I'll render a final binding decision. And the lawyer says, you can decide all you want, I'm still billing you. Okay, tough audience. No worries. So, coming back to the topic, ADR. Can I assume you guys know the basics of mediation? It's neutral and confidential and all. So I'll just give you an antidote now. In this story, I'm not a mediator. I just heard this from someone which I'm thinking to share with you. So there was a dispute. The judge referred the dispute to mediation. The party, in their anger, they went to the mediator and says that, we went to court to settle the dispute. Why are we here? We don't want you, we want court. So the mediator asked the parties to sit down and say that just give me 5 minutes and then you can go back to court. The party sat down. The mediator says that why do you want to go to court? You have given the power to decide your fate to the judge, and the judge has given back that power to you to decide. Now you are more than welcome to go back to the judge and say that, Your Honor, I don't want that power. I don't want my own fate in my hand. So please you decide for me. Can you guess, did that party go back or not? Rightly, they did not. Because what I think people here, or maybe everywhere, they misunderstand mediation as just something which they have to do in order to get to a decision from court. But in mediation, basically, you have the fate in your hand. You are the one who will decide everything. Now again, the basics of mediation is it's confidential process, it's non-binding. Until and unless there's an agreement, you can decide for yourself. I hope there's no confusion over that. If there's any confusion, please let me know now before we move forward with the confidential career part. All right. So, can anyone guess what are the career aspects in mediation? Any guesses? What can you do if you want to be a if you want to make a career in mediation. I mean, it's in the name itself. You can be a mediator. You can be a mediation counsel. You can be a professor who teaches ADR. You can become a case manager or case counsels in ADR, ODR centers. Do you guys know what case managers are or case counsels? Sorry? Okay. So basically, what case managers are, okay, have you heard of the ADR institutes? That's Singapore International Arbitration Center. There is Delhi International Arbitration Centers. Have you guys heard of those? Okay. So basically, whenever you file a case, arbitration or mediation case to ADR or ODR centers, case managers are usually the person who are the administrators who will handle all the cases, not as the arbitrator or mediator, but just as a person who will be taking care of the dispute to see if there are any updates on the case, who will be helping the mediators and arbitrators to stay on top of it. So that's a good career opportunity if you want to strictly go into ADR. Now coming back to the experience, coming back to the mediator, because if you are in mediation, you might want to be a mediator. Does anyone here want to be a mediator? Not a single person. That's great. Either way, so in order to be a mediator, you really need to think about it if you want to go into that field. Being a mediator is not a very easy job to do. I'll tell you about me. After graduating, I wanted to be a mediator. I was very fascinated about mediation. So I took my 40-hour mediation training, which in India is as per MCPC, is required to do in order to be a mediator. So I took my 40-hour mediation training. Then I got my first case as a co-mediator. And in that case, I was privy to some confidential information, which seen now I did not want it to do. And see, the role of mediator is just to listen without showing any emotions and affecting parties on their own. But sometimes you hear stuff which you can't ignore. Now I can't talk about the case with you. It's again confidential in nature. But after that one case, I thought that mediation might not be for me. Now, not being the mediator is not for me, but I still practice as a mediation counsel. Anyone knows what a mediation counsel is? So, whenever there's a dispute, parties go to court and the judge refers the party to mediation. Parties still would want their advocates to be present there with them in order to keep the strategic interests of their parties. See, if you go to mediation, the mediator will be a neutral third party. Mediator would not be in your favor and mediator would not be against you. But you would need someone there on your side. So that will be your counsel. So most often than not, parties hire good advocates to be with them during the mediation so that, while deciding, parties don't just agree on any settlement which is not in their favor. So that personally, I would think there's a very good career opportunities for young law students, young law graduates. Because in order to be a mediator, you need to have a lot of experience. As per Delhi High Court, you need to have at least 10 plus years of experience. Now that's the thing which I personally don't agree with, but it's the rule. Now, how to get cases? The most burning question of all. Now, if you would want to make your career into, let's say, IPR, I'll say go work with some IPF firm, give an interview, get hired, and congratulations. If you want to go into corporate or mergers or acquisitions or any field, I'll say go get hired at some firm which was in the field, but not ADR. Any idea why? Anyone? So if they want to make a career into IPR, corporate, they can just go that hired at a firm who handles all the matters. But if you want to be an arbitrator or mediator, why can't you? Yeah. I mean, it's a very technical question and I've never seen that being asked anywhere. So that the answer depends that ADR is a field of, now again, in arbitration and in mediation, we have this thing called we are independent, we are neutral. So ADR is a field of neutrals, whereas so that we can't, the arbitrators, the mediators cannot be associated with a firm because then there will be a conflict of interest. Any questions so far regarding this? Okay. So you need to build up your own practice, your ADR practice, and how to do that. How to build up your own practice. First of all, as Joe mentioned, that for the very start of your career, you should be a tribunal secretary. That's how I started my career into arbitration. For mediation, I would say you can be a mediation advocate. Now, major thing, you all here are law students, right? Have you ever done moot courts outside of college? National, internationals? Can I ask why? I'll tell you a story after this regarding my first experience. Are you guys on LinkedIn? Do you use it? I'm hearing a lot of no's. Okay, last questions. Do you guys actively go out to conferences or seminars outside of college? Okay, coming back to the moot part. I was in my third year. I met a person. We are live. Okay, so I met a person. He was my competitor in the moot court. We were given a same room to stay, and I started talking with him. My teammate said that that guy is your opponent, so why are you talking with him? But still, I, being a very social person, could not help it. I kept on talking. I made a friend for life, and 7 or 8 years later, I'm not in touch with my friend, but that other guy is still giving me cases, still referring cases to me. So you need to do networking, you need to go out, meet people, participate in moot court competitions as much as you can. That's how you will build up your own network. That's how you will build your own practice. Go out, meet people like Joe, attend as many conferences as you can, because at the end you have to build your own career. If you want to be an ADR, if you want to be in this field, the second option can be LLMs, masters, which again depends. If you want to be a teacher in India, if you want to go into career into ADR, for LLM, I would recommend that you go abroad. As Joe might tell you that people prefer LLMs abroad, not so much in India. I did my LLM, but from India to be in India, but that was to learn more about arbitration. But I made a lot of friends in LLM, and those people are still referring cases to me. So then you have to be very social. You have to go out, put yourself out there. Then again, since we are on the lack of time, just to sum up, we are in the golden age of ADR. As Joe just told us yesterday, I had the opportunity to hear him yesterday as well. India currently is not very mediation friendly, but Mediation Act has been passed last year itself. And Joe gave the example of Italy. If I remember, in Italy, lawyers protested against Mediation Act there, but now it's one of the most mediation-friendly jurisdiction in the West. So there's a lot of future in mediation. In ADR in general, we have seen a lot of ADR arbitration act amendments over the past few years. Even government of India is promoting ADR. Bar Council of India has allowed entry of foreign firms and foreign individuals to practice arbitration in India. The courts are very pro arbitration nowadays. So there's lots of money to be made. So please consider very seriously, if you want to be in ADR, then only. It's not a career option which you can just think that you might want to get into. It will be a huge, career paradigm change. Because as Joe already mentioned, arbitration and litigation is adjudicatory methods, whereas mediation is felicitative. You have to walk through the parties. It is very subjective form of dispute resolution method, and everything changes on case to case basis. You cannot set a precedent. You cannot argue that this is what I want, this is what happened in that case, and this is what I want. So it's all very subjective. So be sure that mediation is the thing you want to do before you go into that field. Thank you so much.
Now, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Rakesh Khurana sir to kindly present a token of appreciation to Param Bhamra as a gesture of our heartfelt gratitude.